How's it going, everyone? ND Sean 45 coming at you. You guys ask the questions, and I have the answers for you, and I'm ready to give you those answers. I let the video run for the past few days, and I think it's run its course with the question asking, but regardless, I still got a good amount of questions here, and quite the variety of questions on when it comes to topics, that is. Some really good questions here. But as you guys can tell, I got my laptop with me, so let's just dive right in. First question, and it's only fitting I started out with this guy, Big Vol Daddy. I mean, hey, he is the inspiration for this video, so it's only fitting that I answer his question first. And Big Vol Daddy asks, so, my question for you, as it has been for everyone else since I thought of it, you have 24 hours to live. How would you spend those last hours? Well, BBD, this isn't the first time I've been asked this question, and I think we all have been asked this question at least once in our lives before. In the past, I never really had a clear answer. I never really thought about it, but after really thinking about it, I think this is how I would want my last 24 hours to go if I knew I was going to get it. The first 12 hours I would spend with my family, and I would say goodbye to them the proper way, and then just walk off into the sunset. I know it sounds like a cliche, but bear with me. I just don't want it to be a situation where I'm on a deathbed and they're with me and they watch me die. No, that's not the last memory I want them to have of me. That's not what I'm about. I don't like that stuff. So the first 12 hours, the first half of the day, I would spend with them and say goodbye to them the proper way. For the next 8 hours after that, well, 8 or 10, I don't know, I'd just have some carefree fun. Not hurting anybody, just, going out, partying, having a few brews. I don't know, probably shave a few things off my bucket list. I don't know. Maybe catch a ball game. I have no idea. Specifics I haven't really thought about, but just you get a pretty good idea when I say carefree fun. But then the last couple hours, and this is going to sound really bizarre, but I think this is how I would want to go out. You guys ever seen the movie The Shootist? It was John Wayne's last ever film that he made, and it's just a classic. Great movie. And this is coming from someone who really doesn't watch a lot of westerns. But I would recommend this movie to anyone because it's so good. I think the way I would want to go out, finish the 24 hours, is going out the way he did. Taking out 3 guys in a gunfight, 3 enemies in a gunfight. And, I mean, in the movie, he was taken out by a bartender with a shotgun. And I'm not sure if that's how I'd want it to end. But, well, I mean, I guess if I knew I was going to suffer, then, yeah, I'd want it to be quick. But the ending is to be determined. But that's kind of the idea of how I'd want the day to end. Just go out with a bang. That kind of thing. So, anyway, next question. Big Ball Daddy, I hope that gives you a good idea. Next question comes from Micah CRKS04, and he asks, fuel injected or carbureted? Micah, I gotta say fuel injected because the car I drive, a Ford Focus, it is fuel injected, so it's fuel injected by default, man. The next 2 questions actually comes from Roller Coaster Fweek. The first question he asks, I know you say you're a Christian, but is it more Catholic or Protestant? Well, it's definitely more Protestant than Catholic. However, my dad's side of the family is Catholic, and my mom's side of the family is Protestant, specifically Missouri Synod Lutheran. And that's the church that I was brought up in, baptized, confirmed. But still, out of respect to my dad's side of the family, I do, respect the Catholic faith to a degree. But of course, that's not the primary faith that I practice. I mean, it's, I was brought up Lutheran, and that's what I choose to be and what I'm going to continue to be. So, but you gotta have respect for all the faiths out there. And being Notre Dame, if you're a Notre Dame fan, there's just always a little bit of you that's somewhat Catholic. So it's a little bit of both, but primarily the Missouri Synod Lutheran. That's the faith that I am. And the second question that Roller Coaster Fweek asks, on a more common note, why the Cubs more than the White Sox? Well, what do you mean more than the White Sox? There is no White Sox. I'm 100% Cubs, man. I don't really have a particular reason. They're just the Cubs are one of the first teams that I remember watching. It was just love at first sight, I mean, to see that, maybe this sounds like a cliche, but I really mean this. You see Wrigley Field for the first time, and the ivy, and those, the bricks in the ivy, and the you know, Clark and Addison. It's just the marquee out front. It's just there's just something, a beautiful sight about that, and that's just what I fell in love with. And also, you know, I've always been a big you know, Ryan Sandberg fan. I loved watching Mark Grace and, you know, all those guys from the late 80s, early 90s. Sean Dunston, Jerome Walton, Andre Dawson, the Hawk. Listening to Harry Carey call the game, just absolutely priceless. It's just like it was just you know, love at first sight. And you know, people have always asked me like, hey Sean, you know, you're not rich. You know, why the Cubs are a rich man's team? You should be cheering for the White Sox because they're the working man's team. I don't see it that way. You know, you like who you like, and you like who you fall in love with. That's all I can say. And that's the Cubs are the baseball team that I fell in love with, and I love watching them. Still do, even though they haven't won anything in over 100 years. But hey, you know, they're bound to get a break one of these days. Next question comes from Law Tide One Time. He asks, do you think Bama will win a third straight BCS title this upcoming season? Not if we have anything to say about it. And I know that's probably a crazy lunatic answer after what happened last month, but you know, and I'll get to Notre Dame in a minute because there's some other questions about that. But I have faith in my team. That's all I can say for now. But honestly, Law Tide, I do think that if the SEC does win it for another, what would it be, 8th consecutive year next year if it does happen, I do think Alabama is the SEC team that will win it if it does happen again. So, in an indirect way, yes. And Practical, he asks, what are your thoughts on next season for Notre Dame? Good question. I definitely see a pretty good season for us next year, actually. You know, even though we lost a lot of talent, we still have a lot of talent in place. You know, Everett Golson's coming along nicely, and with all the new talent that we were able to pick up, I mean, I know it doesn't matter if you're a 5-star or a 2-star, but there's always, the college game is always going to be something that you're going to have to adjust to. But with the guys we got in this year's recruiting class, which is hopefully more to come in the upcoming years, you know, we should be contending here on out for, you know, BCS and national championship games, and I really do think we can do that again next year. I do think we can win 10 games at least. I mean, you know, and the great thing about this upcoming season is not only do we have the talent there, but we have the depth as well, and that's something that we did not have last year. I mean, like I said, we lost a couple guys before the season even started. We lost a key safety, Jamora Slaughter, during the season. We were working with a first-time starting quarterback at the collegiate level. So I mean, if we can reach the national championship game with all those circumstances last year, think of what we can do with the talent and the depth. I mean, so there's no reason why I don't think we couldn't make it to the national championship game again next year, or even at the very least, I see us making a BCS game. But of course, as you guys know me, I'm never going to pick Notre Dame to lose. They're my team, and I stand by them all the way. So I do think we'll do pretty well next year, Practical. The next question comes from Vols Fan for Life 88. He asks, I'm curious, what would you say is the most memorable Notre Dame game you ever attended? Oh, that's a tough question, Vols. Well, of course, I mean, I could easily say the first game I ever went to. I could say I've been actually to quite a few classics, actually. I was at the 2006 UCLA game. I was at 2006 Penn State. 2003 Washington State, when we came back from a 16-point deficit to force overtime and win it in overtime. I was at the Michigan game 2004, which was a lot of fun because I won a bet with my high school coach because of that, my high school football coach. So I really can't pinpoint it. I mean, I'll say this: the first game that I ever went to was a classic, 1999, when I was 13 years old against Navy. And you know, I was expecting a blowout coming into that game, but Navy gave us a battle that year. We ended up winning the game 28-24, and it came down to us on the last drive picking up a 4th and 11 by about 2 inches to keep the drive alive. Then we end up scoring. We end up driving down the field for the winning touchdown. Just a classic. But I can't really pinpoint a most memorable game. I could also say Stanford 2010, even though we got our butts kicked that day. That was a memorable game because that was the first time I met Shamrock Jerry in person, and we did the whole raising of the Irish flag thing, and which the video is that you can see here on YouTube. So I can't really name a specific game because they're all classics to me. I mean, it's just hard to pinpoint something like that. Bama Raider 1, he asks, do you hate Syracuse in basketball more than you hate USC in football? That's a good question, and to answer your question, no, I don't hate Syracuse more in basketball than I do USC in football. Syracuse, of course, being a Big East rival, well, soon to be ACC rival in the next few years. I actually have a lot of respect for their program. Jim Boeheim, I have nothing but respect for him. He's a great coach. I really have no hate towards him or Syracuse whatsoever. I mean, I was pretty pissed off in 2008 when they beat us in football. Just still stings having that one. But that season went to crap anyway. But no, I mean, but as far as USC is concerned. I don't hate the Syracuse basketball team as much as I hate USC in football because, one, USC has been giving us trouble nonstop for the past decade. I could not stand Pete Carroll. And he's even still making my life miserable in the NFL with the Seahawks. But I just could never. It wasn't so much USC as the program. It was just more particular individuals like Pete Carroll. He was always a cocky and arrogant coach. Same with some of their players like Matt Leinart. Could not stand Matt Leinart. So cocky. He was even the same way in the NFL, and he sucks. So, I definitely cannot stand USC football more than Syracuse basketball. USC just, and not to mention the 2005 game. Still have nightmares about that one. So I hope that gives you a clear answer on your question. Okay, shading away from the sports topics here for a minute. Cubs fan 29 asks, do you consider yourself a Democrat, Republican, or neither? That answer is neither. I do not support either party. No, for the most part, based on things that I believe in and my views, I'm definitely a conservative. But the thing is, just because I'm a conservative doesn't mean I belong to the Republican Party. And same with Democrats and liberals. Just because you're a liberal doesn't mean you're a Democrat. And I know both those parties base their opinions and views on liberal and conservative respectfully. But to me, political parties and political views are two completely different things. And so I'm a conservative, but no, I'm non-party affiliated. But more to come on that later. So that's just I just don't believe in political parties. I just think I don't think one is better than the other. They're both corrupt and all that. So one is no worse than the other. Domer Nation 1842. And before I answer your question, I'm thinking of you, man, and I hope things go better for you in the future. Domer Nation 1842 asks, your favorite athlete of all time? Oh, I actually have two favorite athletes of all time because I can't really put one and two. I mean, both tremendous athletes. Michael Jordan is one. I grew up watching him. Just phenomenal athlete. And I'm not just saying that because he just turned 50. I've always cheered for the Bulls. I've always enjoyed Michael Jordan, watching him play. And definitely right behind him, well, not right behind him, on the same pedestal, Walter Payton. Now I know Walter Payton. I never really got the chance to see him, play live because when I was born, I was 10 days old when the Bears won the Super Bowl back in 1986, and so I never really got the chance. So Walter Payton's career was pretty much ending when I was being born. So I never really got a chance to see him play, but from highlights and past games, just, he's a small guy, but from listening to other NFL players describe him, defensive players, he was small, but he was like a torpedo, and he just hit you like a Mack truck when, he was like a missile, and it just exploded with you on contact. Just, it was really fun seeing old highlights of him. And so, him and Michael Jordan, my favorite athletes of all time. ND Fanatic 2012 asks, how often do people think you're in your 30s? I sure did when I first watched your videos on the other channel. Well, ND Fanatic, to be honest with you, you're the only person who's ever thought that I was in my 30s. I'm not trying to make you sound stupid or anything, so don't take it that way. But yeah, you're the only person who's ever thought that I was in my 30s. I just turned 27 in January, so I'm closing in on 30. But no, I still get carded when I go buy alcohol or whatever, or when I try to get into clubs and whatnot. So no, you're the only one who's ever thought that I was in my 30s. So no, it doesn't really. I've never really heard that, and if anyone else has said it, they never said it in front of me. So I hope that answers your question. Notre Dame's Warrior has a few questions for me, and ND Warrior, I'm going to answer all your questions. The first one that he asked is, what record do you think Indy will end up with this year? Just going back to what I said before, I definitely think we can get 10 wins this year, and at the very least make a BCS Bowl appearance. And I think we are capable of winning that BCS Bowl too, whichever one it may be. Then he asks, do you think Everett Golson will grow and become one of the best quarterbacks in college football history by the end of his career? Yes, I do. I mean, even though he had some struggles early on in this past season, he really improved well and progressed as the season went along, and all for a first-time starting quarterback at the collegiate level. So he can only get better. And I think he will get better, and I think he definitely has the potential to be. Now, can I guarantee that he will? Absolutely not, because things change year in and year out. It's the game of football is always evolving. But I mean, I'm not going to say that Golson is like Johnny Manziel, but he definitely has the potential to put up some sick numbers in the next few years to come. Who do you think is our #1 wideout in 2013? Very tough question. In my opinion, it definitely comes down to between T.J. Jones and DeVaris Daniels. I think Brian Kelly will probably start T.J. out as #1 just because he's been there the longest and he has the most experience. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does make DeVaris Daniels #1, because DeVaris, just incredible skill, great hands, the speed. So it really could go either way. But I do think Kelly will put the experience at the number one spot, and that being T.J. Jones. Also, in addition to that, I definitely would like to see some action out of the younger guys, like Chris Brown. I want to see him more involved. I think he only had like 2 catches all last season. One big catch being against Oklahoma that set us up for the go-ahead touchdown. I really want to see more involvement with him. I want to see more usage out of him. I want to see what all he can do, and I don't think we really got a chance to see that last season. But guys like him and Devontae Neal, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Devontae Neal, if they're going to make him a corner or a wide receiver, but I think he could be some more firepower for us at the wide receiver, so I'd look out for him as well as other guys like Justin Ferguson and some of the young guys that we got, like maybe Corey Robinson. I don't know what the plans are for him, but we'll find out. And then the last question that Notre Dame's Warrior has for me, okay, he asked me the most memorable Notre Dame game I've attended or favorite game of all time. I already covered that, man, as you can tell. Really can't pinpoint an answer to that. Hoss 4107, good friend of mine on here. He asks, what was your most favorite part of your trip to Ireland? I know you showcased a lot in your video you made about the trip. Just wondering if you had a favorite moment. Hoss, to be honest with you, I can't pinpoint that one either. I mean, the whole experience of traveling over there was great. Just a beautiful country. beautiful, beautiful country, and I cannot wait to go back. And that's just it. You know, I really can't pinpoint a moment at this time because I didn't get a chance to do everything that I wanted to do while I was there. You know, didn't get a chance to make it over to Cary to see Blarney Castle. Didn't get a chance to go down to Dingle and try to trace my family roots. So I want to go back and, you know, do the things that I didn't get a chance to do the first time around. But I guess interesting story I can tell you at the very least. Going to the soccer match was really interesting because this is stuff that I didn't get on film. But you know, you think that we take our football rivalries over here seriously? You guys should see how they take their soccer matches seriously over there. I mean, we've all seen the clips, but to actually experience it firsthand it's something else. When we went down in Cork City for that game, it was the Shamrock Rovers against the Cork City Football Club, and so Jerry and I and my brother also made the trip with me. We were sporting our Shamrock Rovers colors because that's the team Jerry cheers for, and he introduced me to them. And excuse me. And the first two bars that we tried to go into, they would not serve us because we were with the away team. We were wearing their colors, so they would not serve us. The first bartender said that he was out of beer, and he had 6 taps of different kinds of beer there and there were other people drinking in there. He would not serve us, and you should have seen how Jerry erupted on him. He just was like, "Come on, these are my friends from America, and you're showing that our country has this kind of hospitality. Well, if that's your hospitality, then you can take your pub and shove it up your hole." And I'm like, whoa. I thought we were going to get shanked there for a moment, because these people, like I said, they take their rivalries seriously. They will fight you, and they will, take it further if it need be. So yeah, Cork City to see the Shamrock Rovers match was really, really interesting. Yeah. So next question comes from Honky Tonk Man, and it looks like this is the troll who has his page dedicated to the wrestler Honky Tonk Man. He asks, "Are you gay?" I'm laughing because I think he's expecting me to answer this question the same way that Manti Te'o did when he was asked that question by Katie Couric. No, far from it, far from it. No, seriously, no, I'm not gay. As a matter of fact, I'm completely against that lifestyle. I'm against that. I'm against gay marriage. I don't believe in it. And it's not all because of my religious beliefs. I just do not believe that lifestyle is right. And I might get a lot of flack for stating those beliefs, but I really don't care what anyone thinks, because I'm not going to be pressured into believing in, just to thinking that something that I believe is wrong to be right just because it's popular in the media and it's trending. That's not how I go. I don't say something is okay just because it's popular with celebrities and in pop culture and it's trending on Twitter or wherever else. I'm always going to stick with my beliefs, and I think it's actually pretty disgusting. And if I'm just telling all of you right now, if that comment gets me in hot water with some of you, and you don't like that, and you think I'm bigoted, which, by the way, there's a difference between bigotry and opposition. I'm sorry that you feel that way, and if I lose subscribers because of this, then so be it. But I don't back down on my beliefs just because people are trying to intimidate me because I speak something that's not popular with today's society. So, does that answer your question? That's really all I can say. Next question, two questions from the user Eagles Fan for Life 17. The first question he asks is, who is your favorite NFL team? Well, I'll show you. Yeah, baby. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play, clear the way to victory. No, I'm not going to sing the whole song. But yeah, the original pennant from when they won the Super Bowl back in '86. Sure has stood the test of time, hasn't it? Also, I don't care. I'll sport the Jay Cutler jersey. Quite frankly, I think the guy has a bad rap for a stupid reason, but I don't care. He's not a bad quarterback. He's actually the best quarterback we've ever had, and I just, I just don't think he's had nearly all the tools, player-wise or coaching-wise, to fully live up to his potential. But I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. And honestly, I think people hate Jay Cutler for all the stupid reasons, some of the dumbest reasons I've ever heard of, and it just doesn't make sense. This guy could blink the wrong way and someone would have a problem with it and cause a big uproar in the media. But go figure, the media loves to stir the pot quite a bit. But I don't care. Jay Cutler, I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he only has a bright future with Chicago. So, but yeah, bear down, baby. Drunken Tailgater, I hope you see this video. The second question that Eagles Fan for Life asks, do you think Notre Dame should join a conference? In my opinion, no. I think they're fine right where they're at. I know that there's a lot of talk about what all these conferences are going to do, and becoming like 16-team super conferences and playing 9 conference games, and we'll just see how far that goes. But really, even if that does happen, I still don't see it being a problem. For where we would have to be forced to join a conference, because teams still have bye weeks, they still have their non-conference schedule, and clearly there's still quite a number of quality opponents that would be able to fill those slots for us. But still, though, we know for a fact that we have 5 games wrapped up starting in what was it? I think 2014, 2015, when we start playing 5 ACC teams a year. So finding 7 games to play shouldn't be a problem, and I don't see any reason for us to join a conference. And also because of the fact that joining a conference would not really benefit us, because it would pretty much make us a regional school. Like if we joined the Big Ten, it pretty much limited us to the Midwest, and well, maybe not, I don't know, but it just wouldn't be the same for Notre Dame if they joined the conference. I mean, independence is what has made our identity, and it's obviously has caused a big stir in the crowd, or in the college football fan base. I mean, that's what makes us, Notre Dame, the team where either you love them or you hate them. There really is no gray area. So, to answer your question, that's how I stand with it. I don't see any benefit for us to join a conference, because it would really take away a lot from our identity, and we're fine where we're at right now. All right, the next question comes from. This guy sent me this question, but it comes from SpeedyG1407. He asked me, Sean, what is the worst job that you ever had? Well, that's an easy one. There's actually 2 jobs that are equally on the same pedestal for the worst job I've ever had. The first job was when I was 18 years old. I was working in I take it back, 19 years old. I was working in a deli at a local supermarket back home, and like nothing against the profession of working in a deli, but this place in particular was in a crappy grocery store. The management was lousy, the product was lousy, and just wasn't a great experience. And my manager was this big Godzilla beastly looking woman, and she did not know what the hell she was doing, and which caused I didn't know what I was doing, because she did not know how to manage a shop. So it just was not a great experience all around. The second worst job that I ever had was, actually, you guys can see this in my hometown video series on the other channel, but that restaurant that Big Valdaddy thought looked like a funeral home, that place sucked ass as well. Mainly because of the fact the manager there was a smug little bastard who was really condescending, really, knew how to make you feel stupid. But, the guy had a hip replacement, and I don't care if anyone from my hometown is watching this, but that guy's lucky I didn't break his other hip. So those are the 2 worst jobs I've ever had. Let's see here. I think we only have 1 or 2 left. Give me a second. Okay, yep, this is the last question, and it comes from MCC4ND, and he asks, what are your opinions on the other NDTTCers on YouTube, or the video makers? It would be interesting to see what you think of yourself, Domer, and me. Well, I'm not going to give an opinion on myself. I mean, that's really up for you guys and my audience to do. It's what you guys think of me, not what I think. I just make videos for fun, and I, offer whatever opinions I have on Notre Dame football, and You know, so you guys, and it's up to you guys to take it or leave it on whatever I say. So I'll leave that part up to you guys. But as far as what I think of all the Notre Dame video makers on here, you know, you guys each have your own way of doing your videos and presenting them. I mean, you know, and MCC, you know, you do your videos on your own. You know, you know how to bring it. You know, you're pretty much the only Notre Dame fan on here that really does trash talk. I mean, me, that's really not up my alley, and sometimes I even wonder if I should even call myself a trash member of the trash talking circle, because I really don't do a lot of trash talk. But you know, you have your own way that you do it. You know, you bring the heat towards other members and or fans of other teams. You're very opinionated. Domer Nation 1842. I think he does a pretty solid job at you know, being, you know, realistic towards things, and really gives a good dissection on both sides, on both teams, and or like us and whoever we're playing that week, and really breaking the game down. And you know, if you go back and look at some of his previews and recaps, you know, especially in his previews, he's been right on the money in a lot of the games last year. You know, one week when I said that we would beat this team by 30 points, and he said that we would only beat them by 7, he's been right. So he's a very accurate predictor. Probably a lot more than me, that's for sure, than anyone else I've seen on here. Let's see, who's some other ones? Luck of the Irish. You know, she's you know, she brings not only her views but her dad in on it, and I think that's great. You know, I wish I could have some of my family members on here, but one, they're all camera shy, and two, like I said in a couple videos ago, I'm not gonna bring any of my family members on here with you know, certain history that I've created on here since I started doing YouTube 4 years ago. But I don't know. I mean, she just basically really no different than anyone else. Just shares her opinions. You know, lets her dad share his opinions, and you know, it's great. So I think really all of you guys, you know, you bring a different aspect to the you know, to Notre Dame football, and I don't know. It's really hard for me to explain. But also, I want to give a shout out to a new Notre Dame video maker on here, Casey. I forgot, was it Casey 1989 or something like that? I'll have his link posted in the description box here, but he hasn't really made too many videos yet. But so far, the only video that I've seen him make about Notre Dame is going over the recruiting class that we brought in this year, and he did a real nice job in that. And I look forward to seeing other videos that he has to offer in the future. And you know, and KC, if you're watching this video, man, from what you told me, saying that I was, you know, the inspiration for you to get on here, you know, I appreciate that, man. I really do. And you know, not everyone on here makes videos, you know, so I got to give props to, you know, all my, you know, fellow Notre Dame fans on here. Notre Dame Catholic 90 has been a good friend of mine for, you know, pretty much since day one. And we've talked back and forth. JB5 Go Irish, I've met him a couple times up in South Bend, had great talks about Notre Dame football, good person. Notre Dame's Warrior, he doesn't make videos, but you know, I've talked to him plenty of times over the years as well, and I'm sure there's probably some other guys that I'm forgetting too, but you know, I'm trying to remember all the basic Notre Dame fans on here. I mean, of course, my good buddy Shamrock Jerry, you know, that's just a given right there. But now, of course, all my friends at NotreDameInTheEndZone.com. So it's just you know, it's really a good community of us here on YouTube, as well as Notre Dame Fanatic 2012. You know, I forgot to mention you, buddy. I'm sorry about that. But you know, so many names to go over here, you tend to forget sometimes. And but no, I mean, a lot of you guys I go back with, you know, pretty much from day one when I first started on here, and you know, there's really nothing I can point out in particular. You know, you guys, like I said numerous times already, you guys all bring your, you know, your own little uniqueness to your videos, and you know, that's what makes YouTube great. So instead of rambling on that last question for the next hour and a half, that's all the questions that I received on this video. like I said at the beginning, very good questions here, guys. Covered quite a bit of topics, and gave me a chance to share a little bit of myself with you, and not be too secretive about everything on here. So yeah, guys, maybe I'll do this again in the future. I don't know if there's another question that you guys think of. Maybe I'll do another video in the same way. So yeah, guys, really that's all I can say for this video. Thank you all who participated and asked a question, and I'm really glad that I could share my answers and my opinions with you. So with that, guys, this is Sean 45 signing off. I'll catch you guys later.